Like Connor and Hudson, the way they look at each other, like they
No.
do 80% of the work right there.
Oh, yeah, I saw a lot of theories that were saying it might have been a metaphor because Shane is kind of ignoring Miles behind him. Like he is there, but he's so glossed out in the eyes.
I was upset initially because they were playing the other version, and I was like, hang on a minute, I thought my song was in this show.
That is real. Okay. I love that.
Period. Welcome to another episode of Top 5. And this week is a special edition of Top 5 because if you're watching this in real time, it's June 12th. And if you're not, then it is at least around June 12th, which means it is the 6-month anniversary of episode 4 of Heated Rivalry. Right?
Oh my goodness.
And what can we say, Tyra, about
the brilliant
this
episode that literally changed the trajectory of the whole series. There is, before episode 4 and there's after episode 4. And, it's where the fandom went kind of astronomical, where you guys all became obsessed and crazy about this show, like we did.
I love how you said you guys.
First of all, I was trying to get in my bit, Nicole. I was trying to get into my bit. Because we started a whole podcast about it. But yeah, guys, this is an extra special episode of Top 5. And with that, we have some extra special interviews where you guys will be hearing from some people connected to the show. An exclusive interview for you guys, which I'm really excited about. First, girl, we know. We'll
get into that later.
About it.
But first off, this is why I'm wearing a You Like Tuna Melt shirt. And this is why we've got Tyra for the first time ever in a Shane and Ilya shirt.
In a Shane and Ilya shirt. 1, 2, 2, 1. Listen.
I never thought I'd see the day I could cry tears of joy.
Little baby has grown up. She's grown up. Listen, I'm in there with y'all, okay? My buying dollars too are going to this damn show, I tell you.
Yes. But before we get into it, obviously, we could not do an episode 4 special edition without a tuna melt that both of us made.
You like tuna melt?
Happy 6 months to episode 4.
Yay!
Cheers!
We have our tuna melts, I have sugar-free ginger ale and vodka on behalf of Shane.
Exactly. A little merging of the two, a little Moscow Mule, merging the two boys together.
Yeah, exactly.
Solidarity.
Oh, right. I didn't even think about the vodka.
That's why that's why I said we should do it. So
I'm dead. You're so right. But yes. Cheers to
guys.
The greatest episode.
Listen, the turning point. Happy 6 months. Let's talk a little bit of why this episode in particular hit differently, because you and I have always talked about this being the turning point of Heated Rivalry. And I guess for a 6-episode season, so short when you think about it in contrast. Episode 4 is the halfway point. So of course, maybe that would be the time when a shift would happen for these characters and also just for the show as a whole. So for you, why did this hit so different? Why did this hit different?
I mean, let me count the ways, as Tony Braxton said.
Listen.
I think, we've talked about this, but the moment that montage started off and we were able to see the progression of Shane and Ilya, just not hey, we're just texting each other to hook up kind of thing. I think that was a turning point for me where I was oh, they're bantering and flirting and wishing each other a good summer and have fun and friendly Russia. And it was just wait a minute.
Oh.
I know but I love it because it's he feels comfortable enough to do that. But it was okay, you're noticing all these moments at the beginning of the episode where it's it's not just them hooking up or coming together in hotel rooms. You can tell they genuinely like each other's company and just hearing from each other. And even if that's on a rival level or even on a personal level, that it felt different. And so I just remember the adrenaline rush that I got when I first started watching that episode, that I was it was 6 a.m. in my bedroom, and I was this is too much, but also I am locked in for the next, like 40 minutes or whatever it
Yeah.
was. And it was
Yeah.
because of that overarching shift between Shane and Ilya that we were able to see that Jacob portrayed so well, right?
Yeah, he did. And like thinking about it and looking back on it now, I think what episode 3 really did in momentum of like bringing us to episode 4 was to show us how quickly relationships can change and progress.
Yep.
Because Kip and Scott's relationship progresses very quickly.
Oh
And
my God. So
we are
quick.
at a stalemate when we get to the end of episode 2 between Shane and Ilya. And then when we get to episode 4, they picked right back up
Yeah.
without missing a beat, but we have missed a beat as viewers.
Yeah.
We don't know what's happened in the interim, but it just really further reinforces that relationships change and progress very quickly. And I kind of love that, like thinking back on it now. And I think that there's so
Mhm.
many key things that happened in this episode. And what Jacob did brilliantly is he sort of changed styles, like scenes became more stylized. So when we talk about the club scene and that fabulous needle drop moment that we get from Harrison. And I think that, signaled that there was a shift, that this episode was different than the previous 3, that, we
Yeah.
are moving into a different sort of territory with not only these characters, but how this show will progress moving forward.
Yeah. And I think
And,
what was well, I was gonna say what was interesting is like to me, the montage of episode 4 was kind of also a signal of like goodbye for the audience because the
mhm.
montage of episode 4 was very similar to what we'd seen in episode 1 and 2 of like the fast pacedness of their relationship. But
Yeah.
then after that montage, episode 4 is very slow. When you talk about
Yeah.
timing that we're going through in that episode, it isn't years the way that episode 1 and 2 are, right? It is
Mhm.
like we are sitting with Shane and Ilya because it is our time as an audience to sit and understand where they are as individual people and where they are as potentially a couple and where they are
Yeah.
intimately. And
Yeah.
so we're only going through like a few months of time after that montage of like, where Ilya is and where Shane is. And then when they get together at Ilya's house, it's like, okay, like clearly
Mhm.
things have like become more intimate and there's more
Mhm.
feelings involved, even if they aren't willing to express that. And then once they are, and that scares
Yeah.
away Shane, it's like, okay, well then we have to see the specific beats that get us to Rose and then get us to the club and then
Mhm.
eventually get us to episode 5 and 6. And so I just felt like the Jacob did such a good job of bridging the beginning of the season to this episode because this episode
Yeah.
specifically was that turning point in like time for us as it
Exactly.
relates to Shane
Exactly.
and
Yeah.
Ilya.
It was the emotional turning point. And like you said, you mentioned the beats, and there's so many of them because at the top, when you get that montage, that is the beat of like just unbridled lust between two people. And then you see the beat when we get into tuna melt scene where that is
Yeah.
like intimacy. And on Shane's part, intimacy denied, on Ilya's part, intimacy explored. And then you get to the club scene, and that is just devastation between the two of
Yes.
them because the emotional intimacy has been severed at that point. And I
Hmm.
think that those beats are the reason that because we went on a journey with them. Like this
We did.
episode felt like what a lot of seasons of television shows feel like, where you're going
Absolutely.
on an emotional arc with a character. And this just happened in one episode. And one episode that you always like to say is the shortest episode of the entire season. And it
It
did so
is.
much
Yeah.
heavy lifting to like set up 5 and 6. But to go through the high of the montage to the very
Hmm.
low of the club scene is
Hmm.
devastating in a way. Truly. It really
It
does take you on an
is.
emotional journey. And I love like later on when we get to our fandom segment, we'll hear Alicia talk a little bit about that. But it's just so
Yeah.
interesting how you truly are with them the entire step of the way. And I think that in a lot of ways, this for some could be the most engaging episode because you really do feel so much. And it does kind of take you back to a time personally of like you being 24 years old and going through something similar because it's that visceral of a feeling, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah. The thing that I feel like why to your point, like especially at the end, why this was so devastating and I think hit us so hard is that you had episode 1 where Ilya was the one kind of left on the rooftop in Vegas, right? After they
Yeah.
made out and said goodbye. And then episode 2, Shane left, but he was kind of the one that was left emotionally, right? Like he's like, we didn't even kiss, and like, ugh,
He
this is
was
not what I
he
wanted,
was told to
right?
leave
And then
essentially. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And then you have the end of episode 4 where you see the both of them. So it was like Jacob did such a good job of being like, we see how Ilya is when he's left, we see how Shane is when he's kind of left, and then you see how both of them when they're both like emotionally wanting more from each other, but are both kind of like quote unquote left at the altar in a way. Like there's no ending, you know? And it's like, and so I think that's what hits so hard. It's like, oh, this is the first time I'm able to see both of them in action, slow motion, looking at each other in the club with this look of longing and yearning and hurt that like only one of them had suffered through in the other episodes. And now I'm seeing how both of their emotions
are
are affecting
reacting.
them.
Yes.
And I felt like that hit us so hard where it was like, oh,
did.
they're so
It
in love.
did.
What?
It
You both can
did.
see this. Just like
Yeah.
get together. And so
Yeah.
it just was like beautiful to see that.
Yeah. And I think with like that scene in particular, you just describing it, I feel like that is the moment where fandom became obsessed with this. And I think it really spoke to something very human. And I think that's credit to the actors and credit to Jacob, and credit to Rachel. But yeah, I think that was when we reached obsession levels on this fandom, because after that, you could not go a day without someone noticing something about this scene, without someone talking about the club scene, without hearing Harrison's song. Like, it just would not leave you alone, to be honest.
Yeah, we're so excited to really dive in. But obviously this was such a big deal for the fandom if you were watching the show at this time. So
it was such a big deal. I mean, that we singled out this episode specifically and it was like, we need to do a podcast about it because it really was for us a turning point. And we know for a lot of you. So listen, thank you for we're taking this ride together.
So here we go. Let's dive in.
Let's dive in.
So when we're thinking about episode 4, one of the things that I know stuck out to Tyra and I is how the tension between Shane and Ilya, their world kind of opened up a little bit. And when we think about that, we have to start with the characters, of course, with Rose and her bestie, Miles, who brought this new dynamic to both the show and Shane and his feelings toward Ilya, right?
It did. And listen, one thing that we know about episode 4 in that club scene, there are new obstacles for Ilya to overcome when it comes to the love of his life, Shane Hollander. And, you know, Rose is one. But then what like leads him to Rose, he sees Devante Senior, Miles himself standing at that bar and his world just collapsed. So we had a great conversation with Devante Senior, an exclusive because it's his first interview that he's given about episode 4.
Crazy.
It's insane. But
like,
I mean, happy we can bring it to you first. Listen, happy we can bring it to you guys first.
We're really excited because as many of you, and we told Devante this before we recorded, like there has not been a day since December 12th that we haven't seen that man's face in that club scene when that needle drop happens, when Ilya clocks him and is like scanning for Shane. And so we were really excited to talk to him about his experience filming and then Miles as a character. So let's hear what he has to say.
Here's our conversation with Devante Senior.
You won.
I need a beer.
I bet you do.
Did you watch the game too?
Yeah, I watched a few clips on Rose's phone.
Well, we want to welcome Devante Senior to Top 5. Thank you for joining us.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me. It's awesome.
Yes. Well, we have been really excited to talk to you because obviously we're doing an episode on episode 4 and your role was very pivotal to this episode and obviously how the story moves forward. But I'm very curious, just looking back, how did you hear about Heated Rivalry and what was your audition process like?
It was like the same as any other like process. So like my team will send me the like project in my email. I took a look at the material. It looked awesome, and I taped. It was just one audition, self-tape from home, and I think maybe like a week or two later, it was an offer from the audition.
Oh wow.
Oh, wow. That's
Yeah,
quick.
so just one audition. Yeah, yeah. I got very lucky in that sense. Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that's
awesome.
really
yeah.
So
quick.
so prior to the start of filming, were you familiar with the books? And guess follow-up question, if you were, did you sort of base your character around any of the source material, or was the, like, script the Bible and you just kind of went from there?
I didn't know anything. Like I know about the smut world, and I know it's like absolutely like cult. Like like
Period.
people are going crazy for like now, like now more than ever. But I
Yeah.
had no idea
Yeah,
about the book at all. Yeah, like when I got the audition, like I did my research. I was like, okay, so it's based on a book.
yeah.
And like I kind of just like did my Googles, but I didn't know anything about it prior. So when I did book the role, I kind of just um used the script and what they had given me. I didn't read
Okay.
any of the source material. Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
Mhm.
Did you know that this show had such a kind of passionate I mean, now it's hit another stratosphere, but even at the
Yeah.
time, did you know that there was such a passionate fan base around these characters? And, like, what was that like stepping into a show where you knew that there was this, like, built-in kind of cult audience?
Yeah. I mean, I actually I had no idea. Like I was genuinely like seeing how much it blew up and then like
Surprise.
even wait, no, genuinely, yeah. It was really like really a rare occurrence. Also, I didn't even know that there was like a cult following of the book before the show even came out. So it was just like a full surprise to me. I just thought, okay, like
Wow.
this is like a bit of a popular book. There like are a lot of popular books out there, but I had no idea that it was like as cult as it is. Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting. So,
Yes.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
Mhm.
I
yeah.
was blindsided 100%.
Yeah.
A hundred
Like
percent caught off guard for
Listen, so
sure.
when you finally get to the fan response, I know, and we'll talk over that about that a little bit later, but
Yeah,
I know that I had to
yeah.
have your head
you were
spinning
like,
because
"Excuse
It it
me?"
it did.
right.
It definitely did. It was a interesting moment for me and my close friends and my family. It was like a running joke that like it came out of nowhere. Like they were scrolling and they kept seeing me like every 2 seconds, and I had no idea what was happening, but it was awesome. I loved it.
What
Yeah.
was your mom's response to this?
She she called me. So like here in Toronto, CP24, that's like our news, like
Yeah.
here.
Oh,
And
yeah.
she called me. Why not CP24? I'm just as confused as you
She
are. But
said
she's very supportive.
She's
And she's loved
That's
my artistic
awesome.
journey and she's been there for me. So she's super happy.
Aw.
But it's funny for parents because that was her like moment to realize that it's blowing up, not social media, but it's her
Yeah.
waking up and she's watching the
Yeah.
news as she
The
does. So
news.
she's calling me. She's like, why you on the news? I see you're seeing on the news. It's very funny.
To a
Yeah.
parent, that is how they know their child has made it big. He is
Exactly,
on
It
the
exactly.
is.
news, okay? He's
Exactly. Yeah,
legit.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, so
And you're
she's
like,
like literally
I've been working forever."
Yeah.
yeah, she's calling all her
Network
friends and
TV.
like showing them the clip on the news. It's
Oh,
very
That
cute.
is so
Yeah.
sweet.
that is
Yeah,
Oh
sweet.
yeah,
my
yeah.
god, that's super sweet. So, I wanna get back into the role particularly. So, we see that, like, as, Rose and Shane's relationship grows, that he becomes part of Rose's and Miles' inner circle, and so I
Mhm.
wanna know for you, how did you interpret Miles and his relationship with Shane going into the club scene? Because Rose suggested later on in the season that, Miles was attracted to Shane. So
Yeah.
did so did you play up that in
Mhm.
the scene?
Yeah, so I think like when I was doing my prep, um I was aware that they kind of all were friends. Like he was aware of who I was, and
Yeah,
like these two are in a relationship, so there's kind of like a closeness that they've all developed. But at the same sense, yes, he did find Shane attractive. Um, but I think it was kind of supposed to be like playful, not in a sense of
Mm.
like he's trying to like that's his best friend. He's not gonna try to
e
like step over
Yeah,
any
yeah.
toes.
exactly.
Um,
Yeah,
and I think there's like different dynamics that like some friend groups have, or certain friend groups are okay with like a closeness that they have when they're in situations like a club where they're dancing and they're turned or whatever the case may be. So there's
yeah.
just like a close knit bond that they kind of all had.
Mhm.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
how I took it, to be honest. I'm just
Yeah.
like, they're
Same,
like, me
same.
and Nicole talked about this, and I said, "Listen, they're young and they're rich and they're in their
Exa
20s.
exactly, and
Baby,
they're
I'm
vibing, they're having a good time.
They're at the
Yeah,
club.
yeah,
They got a little
exactly, exactly.
champagne.
Yeah, yeah,
exactly. I
yeah,
was young and in my
yeah.
20s once. I wasn't rich, but baby, I was doing it
Exactly.
all. I was having a good
Exactly,
time.
yeah. Yeah, yeah, and I think, yeah, like, when you're
Yeah.
out with your friends and, like, these are your genuine friends, like, you guys are
Yeah,
gonna get a little close, you guys are gonna might feel a little something, might you know what I mean? Yeah.
absolutely. You're gonna
Yeah.
vibe.
Yeah, yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. Yeah, I saw a lot of theories that were saying it might have been a metaphor because Shane is kind of ignoring Miles behind him, like, he is there,
Yeah.
but he's so
Oh.
glossed out in the eyes that he's
Yeah.
kind of not even really seeing that he's behind him. So it's
Yeah.
not that like he's uncomfortable or like, it's just kind of like he's so glossed over. And the way that the lights are hitting and Rose is
Mhm.
there, but he's not really looking at Rose. It's like it may or may not be a metaphor of Miles being behind him, and that's his sexuality that he's kind of keeping closed off, and then Rose is kind of in front of him.
Well,
That's what I
talk about
saw.
it. Listen.
Wait,
Ask
okay.
Jacob. I don't know. I don't know. You
Well,
gotta ask Jacob. He's a genius. Maybe,
first of
maybe not.
all,
I don't know.
I think
no,
you're
no,
onto
no.
something right there, Devante, honestly.
I don't know.
That
Did you
is
did you see any of that?
no,
No.
Devante. Can I tell you? We have watched this scene 11 million times. You just
Yeah.
brought a new dynamic
Did
that I'm
I
like, I'm
really?
going back and watching it.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah. So,
immediately.
but
That's
well, the fans genuinely, they brought that to me. So, like when I rewatched it, I was like, yeah, you know what? The lights are hitting, and it's slow, and like with this particular song choice that they chose, and if you look back at the way that Hudson plays it, he's like so checked out. And I'm
Yeah,
like, okay, you know what? I can see that, like that metaphor kind of coming to life. So I don't know,
yeah,
maybe, yeah, I don't know.
wow.
Jacob definitely is very intentional, I will say, with everything that he
Okay.
does. So we did do a lot of takes and we did a lot of different takes. So I think that's
Ooh.
also important to note. Um, we always were trying different things. There were some moments where maybe I was a little bit closer, maybe I was a little bit further away
Mhm.
and things like that. So whatever they choose at the end, like with the editing process and things like that, whatever creative decision they made was 100% intentional.
Oh,
yeah.
that's good to know
Yeah.
because I've heard Jacob talk about, like, his sets are usually pretty quick when he's filming, but to
Mm-hmm.
know that you guys,
Yeah.
like, had time to, like, explore different takes and
Oh
different
yeah.
ways of
I don't know
Yeah.
directing the
what the
scene.
other days were like, but
Yeah.
that day that we shot the club scene, we did a lot of takes, a lot of dancing. A lot of
That's
Ooh,
dancing.
so.
Yeah.
And
okay.
was that club scene in general all filmed in one day?
It was. It was. Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
Ooh,
yeah.
incredible. Cause
that is
Yeah, it was.
incredible.
so many beats.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah. It's very, very cool how they're able to do all of that. Yeah.
I was curious going back to that scene though, like just given that you did different I guess versions of it, were you shocked or I don't know if you've had a chance or not to see the reaction that fans have had to you dancing on Shane with Rose. Like
Mhm. Mhm.
were you shocked on how fans were reacting based off of like the original intention or direction that you received when filming it?
I definitely was, but coming into it, I kind of knew that the scene would be a little bit controversial, just because of what the storyline is, and Shane is hiding his sexuality, and it's a literal man dancing behind him. So on paper, it's like, okay,
Mm,
well, if this gentleman is behind you and you're in the closet, wouldn't you kind of want to leave? Which is again why I say it's
mhm.
important to note that we did do a lot of takes and we did do
Yeah.
a lot of the obvious takes, and then we did a lot of kind of the um pushing the envelope takes. So whatever was the
Yeah.
final product was definitely intentional. Yeah. But yeah, I definitely was ready to see, and I kind of knew what
What it
was
looked
coming.
like.
What
Yeah.
was
What the
coming. Yeah,
what the final
yeah,
sauce was gonna be?
yes,
Yeah.
yes. I did know
They
what
had
was coming.
they had some things to say on all different
They
sides of the
did.
spectrum.
Yeah, they
But
did.
Devontae, take me back to that day. What was the atmosphere and the energy like on set when you guys were filming this sequence?
It was awesome. We filmed it in an actual. I don't remember the name, and I should because it's a pretty popular club here in Toronto or Ontario, but I don't
Mhm.
remember the name. I'm sorry, but It was awesome. The lights, everything was legit. Like the lights were there. It was a big club. Like we had the BG, the background there. Everybody was dancing. There was actual music that we had going on to make sure that we actually felt like we were lively in the space. And yeah, everybody was really welcoming. Hudson and Sophie were very kind. We all hit it off very quickly. And yeah, it was awesome. The energy was super high.
Mm, it's
That's so
good.
cool. Was this just given because I know you also filmed in episode 4, you all were at the arena, the hockey arena
hmm
too, and then
hmm
you were also at the restaurant, I think. Or maybe
I
that
wasn't
is
in.
like the beginning of this, like the beginning of the bar scene was with you and
Oh
Rose
yes,
and
yes. So that's also the club. That's just yeah. It was just
yes.
like a little booth that they had in the club. So that was
So
all
it was
shot in the same day. All of it.
okay,
Yeah.
that's what I was gonna ask. That is
Yeah.
I just
Insane.
feel like
Yeah.
all of the coverage that you all had to
I
do for
know.
that club scene,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
like I
Yeah.
don't
A lot.
understand how that works.
Very. Yeah. It's often very long days on set. Well, it does depend. If it's a easier scene, like a smaller set, then it might be a little bit quicker. But something like the club scene had so many intricate details that it needed
Yeah.
a lot of coverage. Yeah.
So what was the
Was
shooting time like for that? Sorry,
yeah.
Nicole.
Oh
No,
man.
no.
I think I got on set at like 11 and I was there like late. Like it might have been like an 11-hour day maybe.
Woof. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That's long.
Something like that. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, right. What
Yeah.
was there a sense though when you all were filming this that this was going to be I mean, it really was the turning point of the
Yes.
show. It kind of
Yes.
kicked the show into another gear. Like, did you
Yeah.
feel that?
Like watching it or when I was filming
Or
it?
when you were filming it?
When I was filming it, no, I had no. I genuinely feel like, and I want to know, like, I want to ask the other cast members if it was just me, because I, like, again, I feel blindsided. I'm like, am I dumb? Did I miss something? Like, should I have known that this was gonna like turn into what it turned into? Because like I blinked and it was like the biggest thing out, which was yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. I
It
was, I
still
was.
is.
I
It
was
still
thrown
is.
through a loop, genuinely. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So no, I had no idea. All I knew is like I love to act, and like everybody was so kind, and we had like an amazing time, and whatever had
Mm,
came out of it
Mhm.
was like that experience was enough for me. And then
Wow.
luckily for us, like there was more, and that's amazing when that does happen. But like for the most part, for us, it's kind of just about that part. Like that memory was enough for me.
Oh, I'm glad
oh,
your experience on set and filming was such a positive one. That's
Yeah, it was
really good to
amazing.
hear.
Yeah.
same.
Yeah, that's really good to hear. Um, so Devontae, I need you to settle a fan debate.
All right, let's do it.
That's been going on
Let's
in the
do it.
fandom for quite some time. So,
hmm
when we get that shot of you at the bar signaling, what's going on there? Because there's been so many theories. Some read it as he's flirting with Ilya or he's trying to
hmm
provoke Ilya. Me
hmm
personally, I thought he was
What do
just
you
signaling
guys
the
think?
bartender. I thought he
Really?
was signaling the
We
bartender
okay.
because
And I
Can't.
think because on a prior episode, I think Miles is Michael B. Jordan, right? Before
no, you think
Sinners.
Miles is Michael B. Jordan. I know.
So
I
I'm thinking he's signaling at Ilya because they all are like in the same age. Like he
I
knows who he
thought
is.
that. I
Like
thought that initially, but then when I like go back and look at it, I was like, was he just signaling the bartender? Because that's what I like that's
That's
what I like
fair.
ultimately took from it.
Yeah, that's
Um,
fair.
okay,
but
so
but
what is
but
it,
Um,
but settle
Devante?
it, settle it. And you listen, who's right, Devontae?
I mean, do I have to answer it? I'd rather keep it a
Yeah.
You do.
I
You do.
I'd rather keep it a mystery. No, in all honesty, he's just flirting. She was just trying to get some, honestly.
I knew it.
Yeah.
I knew it because
So
Miles.
yeah.
I knew it.
I
Because Miles
mean,
is that. Because that man.
listen, Miles likes to party. He likes to flirt. He likes to talk to people. He is very, 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 very open.
Mm,
So
mm,
when he saw him, he was like, "Okay, all right, let me see what's going on here." Yeah. I did a lot of takes with that one as well, where I was just playing with the way that I was trying to interact with Ilya. So one of it
Mm,
was like a simple head nod, then I did the hand gesture, or I might have like said like a hey or like what's up, like I was just kind of like
yeah. Yeah.
improvising, and yeah, that's the take that I chose. But it was 100%. just
he was
trying to
trying to he was trying to
he was
holler.
trying to see what's going on. Yeah, trying to see what's going on.
Period. Listen,
Period.
Yeah.
Miles,
I
I'm
knew
gonna
it.
be like Miles in my next life. Listen, just
you gotta
that was
live your
like,
life. Shoot your shot at whatever's close by. You never know what's gonna
and
happen.
that is a word. Come
Yeah.
through.
That's funny.
What did Michael Jordan say? You miss 100% of the
100%
shots you don't
Exactly.
take.
And you
Exactly.
Hello.
don't. And you don't.
Yeah.
Listen,
Yeah,
we need
yeah.
to start living by that, Nicole.
Yeah, that's so funny.
More than we already are.
Well, I'm just glad that my read of that was right, because the look you gave was so perfect that
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
oh,
It's
he wants
funny
that.
because
initially, but then I was like, I don't know.
yeah. It's so interesting for us because again, we do so many takes and where at least for me, I like to try so many different things. So I'm always
Yeah.
curious to see when the final product comes out, what they end up choosing, because that does often change how things are interpreted.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's very interesting. Yeah. It's often a surprise for the actor as well. It's like, oh, okay, like they went with that choice that I made. That's very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and that can
'Cause
change the
we don't know
entire
as well.
dynamic.
Exactly.
It
Yeah.
can. It can.
Yeah. Mhm.
And how do you feel about the choices that they chose? The
I'm
things that
happy
Jacob put
with
in the
it.
film.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jacob, he's that guy. He knows what he's doing. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's brilliant from like just
Yeah,
outside looking in and
so
observing
good.
what he has
Yeah.
created just from top to bottom. It's brilliant.
Mhm.
It truly is.
Yeah.
Intention.
Exactly.
Looking back though, just like to wrap up kind of the club scene, like, is there a moment looking back that you remember vividly, or that was just like, I don't know, something that you'll always look back on with fondness? Because again, you filmed this all in one day. You had a couple of beats that you had to actually hit or film in those
Yeah.
moments. Like, is there
Yeah.
something that stuck out a little bit?
Not necessarily, but for some reason, what keeps replaying in my head is so I have the two drinks and I'm bringing it over to them and I'm kind of like dancing on my way over. For some reason, that's the only thing that's in my brain, like from that day. It's like, okay, we're gonna take it from the top, and then they give me because it's like continuity, so it has to be the same exact drinks, and it has to
Yeah.
be like how much we drank, the same level on the glass. So they hand it over, and they're like, okay, action, and I'm dancing over, I'm dancing over, I'm dancing over. Okay, cut, and then I have to go back. They give me back the drinks, they check the level. Okay, action. And I'm dancing. Like, I just, for some reason, it's like a loop of me dancing over. I'm going over their shoulder and whatever.
Oh
Like,
my
I don't know.
gosh.
That's the only thing I can remember
Wait,
for some reason.
You are
Devante, I have a
professional.
question on that.
Yeah.
Because, okay, so I've like extra'd a few times, and times when they've told us to dance, there's no music. So was there
Yeah.
music when y'all were dancing? Because the way Rose is dancing is different than the beat you have.
Yeah.
particularly.
Yeah.
It's like-
Yeah. I think there was music, but it is all kind of a blur right now. But I think there was music. It might just be in my head though.
Listen,
you had your own.
I think I'm
You had internal rhythm, and that's
yeah.
good. And that's
I
listen,
want to say yes.
1-2 step. Yeah.
1-2
Yeah.
step. Listen, Devante, I've seen the videos of you dancing. Beautiful dancer.
Oh, you have.
That you are.
Oh,
I have.
yeah.
Listen, we've done some research. Yeah, I have.
Okay,
Beautiful,
that's awesome.
beautiful
Thank you.
dancing, and I'm
I
just
haven't
like this.
danced in a while, but it'll definitely that's always a part of me. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I think you need to bring it back just as someone
Thank you.
who
That's
was
really
looking at it
sweet.
because it was amazing. I'm just like, this man is a triple threat.
Thank you. That's
He
really
can do
sweet.
it all, singing as well.
Yeah, we saw the
Oh my
music.
goodness.
We saw the
Embarrassing
music
you
as
guys.
well.
You guys are embarrassing me.
We won't
That's really
anymore.
sweet.
But,
I
but
appreciate that.
of course. But tell me, has the response to the episode changed anything for you since it aired? I mean, we've talked about how viral it's been and
Yeah.
how much feedback you've gotten. So just tell me about that experience.
It's been honestly awesome.
Yeah.
Again, like I had no idea that this was gonna happen, so I'm still kind of like getting used to it.
Yeah.
I'm not really used to like, people recognizing me from the show, like seeing myself on social media. It's kind of something that I'm trying to get used to, but the reception has been amazing and everybody's so kind. And in terms of what's next, it has brought a lot of opportunities to me, but I am still auditioning and trying to get that foot in the door. It's definitely still a journey for a lot of actors, but it has brought some things. So we're keeping our fingers crossed. Yeah.
But it was a sweaty look.
Miles, don't be terrible.
But I have no problem watching sweat others.
So that was our amazing conversation with Devante Senior. What a lovely human being, an amazing
Thanks,
actor, and someone who is
Devante.
supremely talented. Um, and next, we're going to talk about the needle drop of 2025, you guys, from that club scene alone. We are talking to none other than Harrison, the man behind all the things she said. Listen. It
I
is an iconic moment. Will be an iconic moment forever. And we get into that a little bit with him. Like, he's now etched in pop culture forever, Nicole.
Yeah, and it's crazy he had the needle drop of the needle drop. Like, we thought we had the needle drop, and then he
He
needle
did.
dropped, and we were like, "Oh, wait,
Inception.
what's this?" Yeah, exactly. It's inception of the needle drops. And so just talking to him about what that day looked like, because what I thought was interesting is that where he lives in the UK, it wasn't even out yet. I forget that the
Yes.
show is not
Yeah.
like globally released at the same time. And so it's
Yeah.
so interesting to hear what his experience was, just not even be able to like experience a show in the country where he was living at the same time. So
Exactly.
love talking to
Exactly.
him about this episode.
Great
So let's
conversation.
get to the
So let's get into it.
conversation.
We are Top 5 Heated Rivalry podcast. I'm Tyra.
And I'm
Nicole.
Nicole.
And we are here with Harrison, you guys.
And I'm Harrison.
Yes.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. Yay.
It's like preschool all over again.
It really is. Raise
Present.
your hand.
Present.
Getting into episode 4, I know you've talked so much about kind of how you got your song, or how Jacob and team reached out to you to use your song, but just from a process standpoint, really curious, because what does that look like when someone reaches out to you to use your song? Because sometimes a song can be used for 15 or 20 seconds and kind of barely be remembered in a scene. But in your case, I mean, you had the needle drop of the last, I would say, 7 months, and used in such a big part of the scene. How much did you know about that going in?
I didn't know what he was planning on doing with the song. I just agreed for him to do it. It wasn't like he obviously had the vision, but I don't think that was his original vision. From some of the interviews that I've seen, the idea of him, I have to find it, but the idea of him swapping out the songs was a later thing. It wasn't something that I think was originally going to be like that. I think it just worked. So, because they reached out quite late in the series for me, because obviously I had the invitation, I think late September, October, from my memory. And then and obviously with it being dropped in December, it's not that long, really, is it?
I wanna go back to December 12th of last year, which was 24 hours after the episode dropped, episode 4 dropped.
Yeah.
And like we talked about, the song became this massive needle drop. So tell me, like, what was the 24 hours like after that,
I
and
love how
the
you're
like
reining it
days
back into what we're talking
and
about.
days and weeks leading up to it? Listen, I'm
I like it.
moving as a journalist, Harrison.
All
Okay,
right. Listen, okay. Well,
respect that.
We're going to get back, though. We'll get back, though.
I just had a lot of messages, as you can imagine. Imagine the whole internet discovers who you are overnight. And then I went up to my lounge. I said this before, and I put my phone down on the side, and everyone kept texting me about this Heat Rivalry thing. I was like, I don't really know what that is. But then I remembered that I agreed for the song to come out beforehand, right?
Yeah.
And obviously in England, it's not out, so it's not like I could watch it on
Right.
TV. I had a couple of stuff on Netflix before, right? So like it wasn't the first time I've ever had like a sync on television. But this was just like another level, because this was just picked up by the internet. This was a big deal. And just at that point, I made the video. Does anybody want this extended mix? And then bang, it was just like, almost like 100,000 likes, millions of views, like, and every video I could post, I could just get a crazy algorithm. Whenever I posted anything with all the things she said on it, on my version, the algorithm really picked it up, because obviously everybody was sharing it. So that video was just getting boosted even higher. It's weird when you have a really popular song, the Instagram kind of opens up to you, right? So like you have this window where you get loads of followers for no reason. Well, obviously you have to make it, but the point is, it's like the algorithm's on your side. So once you like start to get it going on and it really picks up. It just that's when the whole internet kind of found me, and then that was kind of where it's at. And then obviously, yeah,
And they've been
it kept
obsessed
getting
ever
bigger.
since.
It kept getting bigger. It kept getting bigger, and then it kept going to like number one, and then it was like the most viral song in the world at the time, and then it was like number one in America for like weeks, 6 weeks, 5 weeks.
Okay, well, one question. Did
Yeah.
you watch the show before episode 4, or did you kind of have episode 4 happen and then go and then start?
Unfortunately, because I'd been sent the scene so many times, it was ruined for me. So then I had to go back and understand why it was such a big deal.
Okay, because I was
Oh,
going to
that's
ask,
interesting.
once you got that context, because for this episode, I just remember,
You have to
obviously,
have watched the other ones to get it. If not, you're just looking at some person walking into
for
a bar looking at somebody
sure.
else. You don't understand what it means until afterwards. But the good news is like later down the line, when I did watch it, I never got to see the second part. So, like when he goes home and he's alone and he's in the shower, and so I felt like I got to see
Yeah.
some of it that I didn't see by allowing the bit that wasn't really shown on Instagram, because I think Instagram might have flagged it. Like probably
Yeah,
not let it be shared.
No, of course.
I don't think we can show all of
Of course. That moment that shower started, it was like, and we have
Listen.
content moderation.
Exactly.
Listen, as someone who,
yeah,
as
I
someone who has to
It was
edit
amazing. It's
videos,
amazing.
you gotta hide. You gotta hide
Yeah,
that. You gotta
I
hide that
I
stuff.
was just gonna ask, because I remember when I was listening or watching it for the first time, obviously when the tattoo version, it was like, oh my God, I'm frozen forever. But when your version came in on the exact moment where Shane's character was also realizing and seeing that Ilya was there and that his feelings were real, it was like, what is this? What
Yeah,
is
no,
this switch to this
Yeah.
song?
It was a
very
rich
good.
shift.
It's very good cinematography on many levels. And then, like I say, I've said it before, I say it again, but I'm so buzzed that those two got to be so famous. It's so good for them. Like, I
Yeah.
reckon
Mhm.
they'll go off. He'll end up playing like some Bond villain, you know.
Oh, that would be
I would
good.
love
And he'll
that.
do it in Russian, and he'll probably be so good at it.
Oh, I would
Right?
love that.
Yeah.
That's
Be
it.
So,
good.
and when you look at what Hudson's doing as well, like he's basically everywhere, isn't he? Like you can't really avoid him at this point.
You really you can't avoid
So
Oh,
that.
so like
yeah. He's
they've just
everywhere.
become the most, the sellable people
Yeah.
in the world.
Well, I mean, yeah, but I will tell you, like, because this was like one of I would say the first official drop of the show. And then after that, we were kind of anticipating it for episode 5 and 6, but like yours was so unexpected that it
Yeah.
was like, I'm going to say the word rewind, even though I know that's not like a thing anymore, but like, keep rewinding your part and like, what is this song? And it was just like such a monumental moment. So like,
Well,
it is really
yeah, and
cool to be
it just
part of
blew
that.
it up, and it was really good. And I just think that it just connected. I always thought at the time it was a good version. I never knew it was that good. Or it was going to mean so much to so many people, or it was going to remind them of something. Like how could I have known? I made it in like 2021, so that's my
Yeah.
dog.
Oh wow.
Like I say, very lucky for it to have happened. It could have happened to anyone. It happened to me. I don't know what to say. Like now I do a bunch of interviews and make more music
You do.
and
Listen.
play prides.
That's not a bad thing. So Harrison, going back to when you first watched the scene, it really had a lot of emotional beats to it. I wonder, as you're watching the scene, listening to your music and seeing what's happening on screen, how did that hit you emotionally? Or did you just look at it differently because it is your song?
Well, I
It's
was
your
upset
creation?
initially because they were playing the other version, and I was like, "Hang on a minute! I thought my song was in the show."
That is real. Okay. I love that.
Period.
Because
Absolutely
I was
period,
like,
Harrison.
like, did they just
Period.
give me money to put this other song in? Because they do realize that I'm not tattoo.
they say you're connected. That is so
So I
real.
was like,
I'm dead.
guys, I must give you money back.
No, tell them the check
And
has
I was like,
already
oh,
been
there's my
cleared.
song. There's my song. No, look, I love it. I love it. Like I've said time and time again, it's a fantastic series. I like it's so much more than that. They're looking around the room, they're looking at each other, they clock each other, they're making each other jealous. It's the whole
Hello.
like basically the first 4 episodes are all leading up to this exact point, and it's just like the bombshell moment. And I think overall, that's the scene that you remember from the whole series.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Oh,
Period.
listen, okay,
Yeah,
filmmaker.
so
Okay, what is your
oh,
short
no,
film
no.
coming out?
So,
I feel like there's something else brewing creatively behind there.
well, Jacob better hit me up for the song for season 2 soon.
Yes,
I'm joking.
Yes.
please.
Nah,
and
I'm
he
only
will.
kidding. Look,
Actually,
Jacob's really nice, by the way. Like, so, yeah, no. In all fairness, he's done some amazing work as well as Heated Rivalry.
Yeah.
I think people's got to realize that this isn't his first rodeo.
Right.
You know, so
Yeah.
you should go look at some other stuff that he's done.
okay. First of all, Harrison is so fun to talk to. I
Such a
felt like we were
joy.
talking to a friend.
We were.
Like,
We're
on the
friends now.
phone. Yeah. So interesting just to get his perspective on the episode and then obviously his thoughts about the show and Jacob.
Yeah.
And so we really appreciate him taking the time just to kind of get more info on what this episode meant to him. And obviously, it's so interesting to hear him talk about how he doesn't even feel like the song belongs to him anymore.
Yeah. And I guess that is,
Um,
a true artist journey. Once you release something, it's no longer yours. But yeah, this is firmly belongs to the Heated Rivalry fandom. Sorry, Harrison. But I don't, I think he's very happy about it.
yeah, agree.
Couldn't
I
be happier.
mean, it's a great song. It's a great cover. Okay, well, speaking of, I mean, if we're going to talk about the club scene, we've got to talk to someone who was there in the flesh. We've talked to Devante, obviously, who was in
Yep.
front of the camera. But when we're thinking about behind the camera, quite literally,
Quite
um,
literally.
we really wanted to get some inside scoop on just what it was like to film, the club scene, but episode 4 in general, which, as you know, for all of us, just kind of the show into another gear
Yeah.
for those of us who are already watching. And so we had the chance to talk to none other than the iconic Miss
Iconic.
Ashley Iris Gill, who is a
What a
BCAM
queen.
operator. Queen, literally,
Queen
like
behavior.
when we release her like full interview, I'm just like, she's just so accomplished and just so
So
interesting to talk to and so passionate
she
about what she
is.
does.
She is. And a true creative too, right? Nicole, I think that's
Hmm.
what we're someone who is truly gifted and creative. But also I think what really shocked me about this interview is just how technical everything is, but there is a balance between technicality and creativity, which she
Yes.
balances so well. And it just gave me into an insight of like the behind the scenes of production that I never, knew before.
Agree. And how much freedom that she had in her
Yeah,
particular role on set. So
exactly.
really interesting to talk to her about the club scene, a couple other scenes throughout the episode, and in general, her experience working with Jackson and Jacob and
Absolutely.
Connor and Hudson, and just what it was like behind the lens. So let's get
Behind the
to our
lens.
conversation with Ashley.
We love you, Ash.
But yeah, I guess getting into episode 4, you were the BCAM operator. Like, uh, if we were to step into your shoes day to day, particularly on this episode, but on set in general, Heated Rivalry, like in a way, because we really want for people who may be listening or watching that may not know what your kind of day to day looked like. What
Mhm.
what are the things that you're looking out for as a BCAM operator on set that maybe we wouldn't as a viewer just watching episode 4?
Like kind of behind the scenes, what am I looking out for?
Yeah, like what does it look like day to day for you, particularly on this episode, but in general on the set of Heated Rivalry? Yeah.
Well, I think it's kind of interesting. So like a camera normally is like the one that tells like the main juice of the story. So like he gets a lot of like the wide shots, also a lot of the close-ups too, but like the wide shots are typically his and I have to kind of sometimes find a shot if there's like no shot kind of like designed for me. So typically what I will be looking for, it's like I look at the set to figure out what is going to make the most interesting shot. So for example, if there's like a lamp that might be like right out of someone's head, like I'll move myself to like to kind of correct that, or if
Mm.
there's a stand or something that's like super close to me, or like I know like, oh, if that stand moved an inch over, I can get a better shot, you know? So I think I'm just thinking about the little pieces on set that might help my shot be better, because sometimes they're focusing on like the A camera shot because it might be a more complicated like setup. Like James, our A camera operator, is super talented, but he had a lot of like Ronin stuff and Steadicam stuff, and like there was just way more tech on
Yeah.
his end. So I had to more so avoid that, but still finding myself a shot. Um, so yeah, I think I'm thinking about like, yeah, the little things that can be moved around to help my shot. Trying to think. I feel like there's so many things in the moment that like you're considering that I can't
Yeah.
like pinpoint like one or two things, but I definitely think like the track of it.
Does that give you
Well,
more freedom a little bit?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Cause like, so okay, just to go back, I guess. So every scene gets blocked out. So the director Jacob and Jackson, they'll block it with like the actors, and me and the other operator will like sit in the same room and watch the blocking to see like where the characters go and what kind of happens. So when the blocking is done, I'll ask I'll ask James, the A camera operator, where he's gonna set up his shot. So if he's like, oh, I'm gonna be over here, I'm getting a wide of this, like the boys are sitting right here. So once I figure out where he's gonna be, I'll talk to Jackson to figure out where he wants me. And sometimes he'll be like, okay, Ash, like get a profile shot of him, or like you're gonna get something tight on like his hands or like his neck. Like he'll kind of tell me like what he wants. And then I'll just kind of like find a shot, and I'll work with like the team behind the scenes to like kind of craft it and stay out of James's way, because he might have like a dolly track going across like this. So I can't be right beside his camera. So I'm like, oh, his path is this way. Can maybe I'll like be over here and just get like a profile shot of like their eye or something for this take. And then if he's not on the dolly and he hops off and maybe he's like on Steadicam and now he's like walking around, I'm like, oh, cool. Like no one ever looks in that corner. I can like put myself over there. So we all kind of like do the dance to like place ourselves and just like let the performance be the performance.
That's really cool. So Ashley, you talked about how physically demanding being a cam operator is. And I'm I'm just curious, since you talked about, you having to create your own shots in a sense, was there a scene or a sequence that you felt was really physically demanding? And not particularly, it doesn't have to be episode 4, but throughout the entire shoot.
Well, because BCAM gets like the tight shots, I think it's harder to get um tight shots that have like no movement to it, because the tighter the lens, like the less I can move around. Because you'll see
Yeah.
everything. If I'm like shooting in here, if like I dip the camera, like it's gonna be a little bit um crazy. And I remember there was one time when Jackson asked me to shoot on like 150 mil, which essentially would put me like somewhere in the screamer land of a shot. And I was like, oh my gosh, because it was like a scene where trying to remember, oh, if it was Hudson. No, it was actually Connor. So Connor was sitting on a couch, and then he kind of like goes down onto like the floor. And I was kind of
Mm,
scared to get it because I'm like following the movement in like this tight composition. So I'm literally trying
yeah.
to like, but I
You're
also
all up
like
in there.
yes, but I
Yeah.
did it in like a squat. So I'm standing up while he's standing up. And then when he sits on the couch, I'm in this weird squat. And then when he goes on the
Yeah.
floor, I like drop down to like my knee while still like keeping it in there. So I think those were kind of like the harder shots where it was like a
Yeah.
super tight lens, but then it looked good. And then he was like, "Oh, you're good at that. Like, we'll keep you on those like super tight lenses."
You said pain is temporary. This shot will last forever. Because let me tell you how my knees would have folded, girl. Good on you. You said
Oh,
squat and
cracked.
knees.
Cracked.
Knees done.
Oh
Yeah,
my
yeah, yeah.
gosh. No,
Listen, I'm trying to be like Ashley when I grow up.
And I can imagine that movement's hard because you're having to also keep pace with the actor who could change the pace each shot, right? Or each
Yeah.
take, I guess.
and that's the thing that everyone does. Like the physicality of their body always changes shot to shot. Often like their performance it'll get better or it might stay like very similar. But yeah, like where they move is different, or when they decide to get up, or on what word they try to get up. So it's like you can't really predict things. All you can really predict is like the zones of like where their head might fall. So if like a character is
Mm,
sitting like where I'm sitting, I'm like, okay, cool. Like their head is like really close to the top of the painting. So I know like if I tilt up, just tilt up to like about here and I'll be safe. So I kind of just look
mm,
at like the atmosphere or like the room around to figure out like the best way to like pan or tilt or like get the camera close. But I will say us shooting a lot of stuff like handheld like really helped, because I feel like handheld is more instinctual. Like you're more like in it, like it's you and your body
yeah.
versus like on a dolly or using another like
Right.
tool that it's like it's more like the mechanics of like the machine, or like you can change the tension on a tripod. So it might be like harder to tilt or harder to like pan. But if you're handheld, it's just like you and the camera, like you figure out the weight. But yeah, there was a lot of complicated shots. And then I think there was some shots because I did a lot of zoom shots. So did James. We both kind of did a lot of the zoom shots, but I think some of those were stressful because you can't really have a bump in a zoom shot if it's gonna be played out as like one long like push in. So if I'm like doing a push in, like if I sneeze or do anything and I shake the camera, I kind of ruin that take. So I think it was just like, yeah, the pressure of like, oh my gosh, like
Yeah.
making sure it's fine. And then I have like Jackson in my ear who's like so sweet. He's like, oh yes, Ash, like that looks good. Or he'll be like, okay, short side, like drift a little bit to the left. So I'm like trying not to breathe, like trying to trying to get those moments.
That is a high wire act you're doing right there. Like, just when you're thinking about your own bodily function, like, I can't sneeze or, I'm going to mess up sort of the placement of the shot. That's
Right.
insane. So you just are constantly sort of reassessing the area and just thinking through what you need to do and change. Is that kind of how your mindset is when you're filming?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like in the take, typically like Jackson won't like say like too much things. Like he just kind of like lets us like focus on the moment. But then after every take, like he'll give like feedback. He'll be like, "Oh, I like that, Ash, but like like cut this part out, like cut like the lamp out a little bit more, or like drift to his hands a little bit faster." Or like he'll kind of give me directions. So then on the next take, I'm like, okay, cool. So I have like my edits, and then I just gotta remember all the little things that he said, and then I just try to get it on the next take.
I do have you just sparked a question because like before each episode that you all are filming, are you going through like the certain, because I think you've talked about like it's important in your role specifically to like read the scripts, right?
Oh,
And
for
like have an
sure.
understanding what's coming up. But for each of, because Heated Rivalry was filmed out of order, it wasn't
Mhm.
just like episode 4, here we go. Um like were you all taking it almost shot by shot before obviously things happened on like what you were trying to achieve in that way? Or
So although it's not in order, like on the call sheet, like it tells you like what scenes we're doing. So like it'll be like, oh, this scene, this scene, this scene. But then you also get something called sides, which are like the excerpts of the script. So typically, like every morning, like I'll try to get there a little bit early. Sometimes I can't, but I'll always read the sides. So I'll give myself like the refresher, like, oh, we're doing this scene and this is what happens in this scene today. And then yeah, Jackson would just come to me and James in the morning and he'll kind of talk us through what he's thinking. So he's like, all right, cool. So we're gonna be like well, since we want to talk about episode 4, but it's like, yeah, okay, we're gonna do like this party scene. So like James, you're gonna be here like moving through the crowd and like you're focusing on Connor while he's like looking at Hudson, which is technically like the camera, and Ash, like you can get something in the crowd, just know like don't be in this area because this is like James's route or whatever. So then I might just like get like a little shot of like the crowd, I'm drifting across them, or like getting little moments like that. But yeah, even though it's shot out of order, like Jacob and Jackson kind of had everything planned out. So they just kind of like talked to us about what was kind of happening that day. Like, oh, this is like in the past, or this is what's happening here, or we're using handheld for this reason, we're using sticks for this reason. So they kind of talked us through everything. So I didn't really have to like think too hard about that, to be honest, which is nice.
yeah, that is nice.
Oh, that's
Uh,
interesting.
the
Oh, sorry,
one
go ahead.
question, no, sorry, I wanted to go back to one part of episode 4 because I'm curious.
Mhm,
When we're thinking about, there's a shot or a scene of Hayden and Shane at the aquarium,
mhm.
and you hear all of like Hayden's 5011 kids in the background. But y'all, he has so many.
He
He has
doesn't
so
like me.
many. Like
I
he's
love
so
that.
young. But you see the one baby that Shane's holding, but you hear off camera, right?
Mhm,
All of the kids, and you see Hayden and Shane interacting with them. Like, how do you, because the camera has to do a lot of work in that, at least as a viewer watching, like we
mhm.
have to see them looking off camera, but then there's an awareness that I don't know, were the kids there on set when they were filming? And then like what is the role as a camera operator in that to kind of set the tone for what our experience should be as an audience in that, since we're not seeing part of what we're hearing, I guess, as a character.
That's a great question. Well, I think well, that's definitely more like world building with like the director, the DP, and like the production designer, as well as like the people that did the actual like projection, because like they kind of build the world that you can kind of fake and like believe that like you're within it, you know. I think for composition for me, I just wasn't too wide because I think when you have a wide shot, you expect to see the things that you're hearing in a different way than when you're like tighter. Um,
Mhm.
and yeah, because like if I was in a shot like in here and you're hearing kids, you're just gonna believe like, oh, they're running off, looking at some of the aquarium stuff, or they're at the concession stand over here, like they're doing something within the realm. But yeah, when you're super wide, you're just like, okay, I'm hearing all this stuff, but like, where is it? And I think it was easier to sell at a location like this simply because like museums or aquariums, like there are empty people in a certain area and there's a bunch of kids like somewhere off screen. So I think it was kind of like an
Mhm.
easier cheat based on like where they were, you know? Because I think if we did like amusement park, we would have to have a million kids because there's no way to pretend that there's no kids running across the
That's
camera or
true.
in the same
Yeah.
area, you know? But somewhere like an
Mhm.
aquarium, it's like, yeah, you would have a little quiet corner where you're looking at some fish or some whales and there's no kids on screen.
Yes, and where you also could, like,
That's
leave
smart.
your kids off to the side if you're a parent.
Go on a
The
bench
fish
some
will
yeah, go
listen,
on
the
a bench
fish will
sitting eating
babysit.
ice cream off camera.
Listen, the fish will
Yeah,
babysit. So
yeah,
so actually, I wanna talk about the club scene a little bit because that truly had the fandom in shambles
Yeah,
till
I
this day.
Mhm.
It's,
everyone
Still.
it'll go down in film and television infamy.
Mhm.
Okay, and I think the beauty of it is the tension, and you achieve
Mhm.
that really when you see the differing perspectives between Shane and Illy. And I just want you to talk a little bit about filming on that day, sort of your role in creating that tension and what shots really stood out for you.
Wow. Well, that day was very interesting. I think that was the first day where we had that many extras. And honestly, one thing about filmmaking, it doesn't matter what space you walk into. It could be the biggest house you've ever seen in your life. The moment we bring all of our stuff in there, it's the most claustrophobic space you've ever been in. Like literally, there's a million people everywhere. So I remember showing up being like, "Oh my God, there's people everywhere." Like I had nowhere to sit. I couldn't like put anything down. Um, then it was just like the fun game of like how we stash ourselves. Like, where are we gonna put our lens? Where are we gonna put this? Like, where can I hide myself essentially? But yeah, I felt like
Yeah.
the amount of people was definitely overwhelming the most
Mm.
for that day. I think when it came to like the tension, so those single shots that like those iconic single shots, like James got those ones. Um in those like no, they did like the slow pushing and like the lights all like
Oh,
flickering.
yeah, actually, girl, we know.
Of
We
course,
we
Savvy
know.
girl.
yeah.
Yeah, we
We
know all too
know.
well. It's sad.
Beat by beat.
I love it. I think yeah, well, I think like it's the recipe of like the camera being like super slow because like you're really just taking in everything. Like even if it was like handheld, I don't even think you would have had like that same energy as like the steady cam because steady cams it has like this nice like flow to it. So I felt like that really
Yeah.
helped people like draw into that moment, but then also like all the out of focus like bodies and the way that the light was like hitting them. And I think that outside of it being like beautifully crafted, I think that everyone's had like similar moments to that. Like you're in a party, you see someone in the crowd, and you guys like might like your eyes might meet for a second, but it's like the
Yes.
world does seem like it's kind of stopping. So I think like the slow
Mhm.
motion of it, like the slow
Yep.
pace of light, and like honestly,
Mhm.
their eye contact is just so good. Like
It's
Connor and
so
Hudson, the way
good.
they look at each other, like they
No,
do 80% of the work right there. Like like we
It's
don't
that's
gotta
so
do
true.
too
good.
much.
Well,
Listen.
and the way that in Tyra and I talk about this all the time, like the thing that's so amazing about the show is the camera always lingers. So we're able to see that eye contact and like feel that tension and some of like what's going on and unsaid because of the camera lingering in that
Mhm.
way that like you
Mhm.
just don't get in a lot of shows, to be quite honest. And so it did feel that way in the club. And so yeah, it's I'm curious, like just in general, is there a lot of conversation happening with you all about the camera's role in, I guess, showing or displaying what that is, some of the emotion or the feelings are between those two characters? Because even in another example we were talking about was the scene at Ilya's house where he's asking Shane to stay, and
Mhm.
there's like this very like nice zoom in shot of them as the scene gets more intimate. It's zooming in, and then we see them like having a nap together, and it's kind of in this tight shot, right? Yeah, sorry, I'm walking beat by beat, girl. And it's like
I didn't know what, girl, I didn't know what part of that scene we were talking about. I said, is that before? I thought we were
Oh,
talking
I
about
can see it. I can
girl,
see it.
I can see it too. And I thought we were talking about different scenes.
But then you see the camera kind of widen again to kind of show why Shane is freaking out a little bit, because it is like, wait, that we're in a situation that is like not as intimate to him, like it's unfamiliar. So I'm just curious in general, before these shots, are you all also, besides the technicality of it, I guess, talking about like what you should be kind of conveying in these scenes, I guess?
Yeah. Well, yeah, we definitely have conversations with that. I will say, like, Jackson was like super organized, like all set. Like he had like his iPad with all his notes on it. He also had like his references. He kind of had like everything on deck. So we would talk about every shot beforehand. So he might be like, "Oh, Ash, like start in here and then widen out to make sure you see like up to here, or like, you know, like below the nipple or something." So I kind of knew where I was gonna start and where I was gonna end, but it was like the in between part was like more instinctual, you know, because it's like, how fast am I going to zoom out? At what point am I going to start like the zoom, where it might be like, oh, start on this line. But then it's like, it's not going to say like end on this line, you know? So I think it's just like, it's just the instincts of like me also being the first audience and just like watching the moment, being like, oh my gosh, this is like intense. Okay, cool. Oh, okay, he's getting off the bed now. Okay, cool. Let me put that on here. Like, you know?
First of all, I love that turn of phrase, the first audience. That's
Yeah,
great. I
yeah.
love that. So I guess to that point then, Ashley, like, you know, when you get a reference point from Jackson and then it's kind of just up to you, like, how does your creativity, your personal creativity play into that? Because, you know, you get notes from Jackson, but also this is kind of a two-hander between you two.
Oh, for sure. It's kind of like a chef gives you all the ingredients and it's like, you know, you can add your little sauce to it, you know? And I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
typically, well, I think there's like an unspoken thing amongst like operators in general, where it's like the first take you get whatever like the cinematographer and the director like they kind of want out of you, and then the second take you get like a better version of that first take because like they'll have some edits, and then the third take you can kind of like freestyle and do what you want, you know? So I think I kind of would
Ooh.
always like going with that method. So it's like, yeah, so if I don't know, if the shot it's like a conversation happening and like, yeah, it is a zoom, then it's like, oh, maybe on this take, like I'm gonna start on his hands and then go up and drift to his face and then do the zoom out, or find like a different POV to kind of convey the story. And I think after the first two takes and the blocking, you kind of
Yeah.
can figure out like your own sensibilities in that moment and what makes sense to you. So I think for me, because I'm a cinematographer and a camera operator, so I have my own style in terms of like composition, how I
Yeah.
like things to be, like the symmetrics of like my own shots. And when you work with other DPs, you kind of lean into like their style. And I think it's interesting when you get to kind of like blend both of those when you collab. And I think like that's kind of like what me and Jackson did. I feel like he has a very distinct style. I feel like I have like a style, and I think when we like married them together, it worked out really well.
Wow, that's you know what? And I think we can all tell that it worked out very well because look at the response. So, Ashley,
Yeah.
I just want to know, you know, what was your reaction when episode 4 came out and just the fandom's response to that? I'm curious. What were your thoughts? Got to know.
Um, Well, honestly, I thought it was amazing. Like it's very interesting when you work on a show because like you never know how it's going to turn out in any way, shape, or form. Like you never know if people are going to like it, if they're not. You also don't know what's going to happen in post. You know, like are your shots going to make it? Is the edit gonna, you know, you don't really know. But yeah, I think seeing how people responded made perfect sense after I watched the episode myself. And when I seen that club
Yeah.
scene, I was like, "Oh my god!" Like
You said, "Oh,
Exactly. Y'all did
this is
that.
ridiculous." Y'all
Y'all
really
did
did
that.
that. It's kind of ridiculous. It's just that good.
Like, I had to play it again. Like, I was just like, "Yo, this is." It was like it's so interesting because it had like the energy of like a music video in a way, like in terms of
Yes.
like the color palette, like the slow like movements, and like I kind of came up in music videos, so I have like a super like I have a love for music videos and just like the cinematography and music videos, and I felt like the way that James kind of danced in the crowd, it gave me like that same energy. And I was like, and then that song, like all the things she said, perfect song. Like, I
Oh,
don't care what, like, there's
iconic.
literally no other song that
Iconic.
could have been more perfect. Like,
Mm-mm. No, it felt
Yeah.
like and me and Tyra were saying because we were like watching that scene alone. I don't know if you all had this thought going into it, but it felt very nostalgic for us. Like it reminded us of like the early 2000s when you would watch like a rom-com or something like a romantic
Mhm.
drama or something where
Mhm.
one, you didn't see people on their phones, which was great in the
Yup.
club. So I was like, oh, this reminds me of when I was like in my 20s at the club, you
When you could do
know?
whatever, nobody would know.
Yeah, but then it just the tension and, like, I think what you said, like, there was, like, a music video quality, like, when that beat drop happened, it felt like I was watching a fan edit or something. Like, I was
Yes.
just, like,
Yep.
taken
Yeah,
aback
like, it was
by
so locked in.
all of it. Yeah, very
Yeah.
locked in.
And to the point
Um,
of tension, I agree with that. I feel like the only other movie that's ever made me feel like that same vibe was like Love and Basketball. When they're
uh,
dancing in the gym and they're both looking at each
Ooh.
other, and it's like
Ooh.
you're just like, "Can you guys
Well,
just
I wanna be
leave?"
your man in it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
thank you. I'm like, "Can you guys
Mhm.
just leave where you're at and be together?" Because, like, that tension, I was just like, I don't like,
Yeah.
just
yeah,
Yeah.
we
and I
want y'all
You know, you're
together
yeah.
bad.
I told Nicole, I said, I think the only other needle drop besides Harrison in that scene and that scene in general was probably Sinners in that scene where,
Mhm.
the dancing scene through history, but it's actually insane.
So
And like
good.
we've talked to Harrison about this, we talked to Devante about this, and like everyone has the same reaction. That scene is just kind of a game
Incredible.
changer, to be honest, like
Incredible.
the trajectory of the show.
a
It just
100%.
took it to a stratosphere.
Um,
And even, like, Jackson's, like, lighting, because, like, the flickering light made the moment so much more
Stop
intense
it.
because it's like you're, like, seeing things and then you're not, and then you're seeing things and then you're
mhm.
not, but, like, their eyes are never changing, their bodies aren't moving. It was just
Mm.
like yeah, it was perfection, I must
Well,
say.
actually, well, I have a question on that real quick then, because in the club scene, a lot of times we're seeing the camera almost being either Ilya or being Shane. Like
Mhm.
it's almost like the camera is like their viewpoint. Like, how technical is that? I guess, like when you're filming it, because particularly the one where you see, like, okay, Ilya is scanning, and then you see him noticing Shane, and then you see Shane noticing Ilya at some point, but it's the
Mhm.
camera noticing it, not actually them, I guess. Like, how do you make it so that obviously there's probably technical beats that you have to hit, but making it feel almost like it's an eye that's like, oh, this is like the person we're focusing on or whatever it is. Like, what's that process look like?
For sure. So the major consideration in moments like this is just like your eye line. So where you're looking in relation to like where the camera is and like is it believable? Essentially, like that's like the major thing, and that kind of falls on the script supervisor. So the script supervisor is the main person that does watch eye lines. So shout out Jenny Mack, who's an incredible script supervisor who I've also worked with on other stuff, and I just love her. But so it's like so essentially we would frame up. So like me and James would frame up our shot, and then Jenny Mack would come out and she would like show us either frames from another scene or a wide shot and be like, "Oh, the eye lines are too wide. Like it's not like it's not believable, or the eye lines are too tight." And then we kind of like find out exactly where they need to look to sell it. So it might be like it could
Mm,
honestly be me holding the camera and being like, "Okay, Connor, like look here," and then Jenny Mack would be like, "There." And then we get like a stand and a tennis ball or something so that he can like look at that spot. And that's kind of what everyone does across the board in film. It's we just find an eyeliner. It might even be like the map box, or sometimes it might even be like Hudson standing like right beside me, so they're actually looking at each other. Like it could be a variety of the things depending on like where we are in the space, you know? But it's just
mhm.
all eye lines, like, that's what really helps because I feel like as a viewer, we felt like we were so in it because the eye lines were, like, so spot on. But if,
They were
like,
perfect.
Connor was looking too far off to either side, we would be kinda pulled out of the moment, you know?
Yeah.
Mhm,
Yeah. No, it felt
mhm.
visceral throughout that whole sequence, especially when we get to the end and
Uh,
they're both breaking the fourth wall and looking to camera. I'm gonna tell you, Ashley, I was like, I'm uncomfy. Okay. I didn't want to be in this much of y'all's business.
no one told y'all to look at us. That
No
was
one
not
told
part
you.
of my
Don't include
agreement
me in
watching the
this.
show.
Fun, that is so and also I think editing also really helped, like the editor on the episode was incredible. Like going back and forth between all the little like moments and like, yeah, it was great.
A beautiful
Ha
dance.
Yeah, for scenes like that though, where it's like, y yeah, there's these tight shots, right? And I don't know if you all shot them close together or not, like in terms of sequence, but it felt like they were being filmed at the same time because of just like the intimate nature of it. Like from I guess like from your point of perspective, like how do you all make that happen? Because it did feel as if I'm watching both people at the same time on the same night, you know, obviously having these feelings toward each other, but I would imagine you're filming them at different times. Like, are there certain directions or I guess things that you all do to make it feel almost like the same uncomfortable shot that we felt watching it at the end?
I love it. Well, I think well the matching shot of the boys looking at each other, like James got those, and I think that he's really good at I guess just like matching like his previous shot, you know, because it's like you shoot one version of it and then you kind of like flip the world, flip the lighting to get like the opposite of it, and you kind of make sure like that shot matches. So I think one good thing, well, not good thing, but one way to kind of capture that, it's like having James get both of them. You know, it wouldn't make sense for him to get one and for me to get one because we might shoot them like slightly different composition wise, so it won't have like the same energy of it looking like identical. So it's like James would
Mhm.
get like one version and then he would be the one to get the other, so it matches like perfect. But yeah, I think I don't know, I guess I'm trying to think of like there's any like considerations to really help sell it, but I think like we kind of like lived in that lighting, you know? It's like we're kind of like in the moment, the extras were in the moment. We'd obviously like cut the music and certain things in between takes, but I think everyone just really was just yeah, really like locked in and just like focused and like we all knew what we were there to do, you know? And it's a very like intense moment and I think that everyone can relate to it. So it's so easy to kind of like slip into that energy.
Mhm.
Cool. I have one more question wrapping this up. So, Ashley, what's your personal process then? Because it sounds like you're having conversations with Jackson and James. And so, what do you do when you're going into a scene or a sequence? Like, are you mentally cataloging things? Do you write things down? What's your process?
Um I think it's more mental for me. Like I think the most important moment honestly is the blocking because like just seeing
Mhm.
the whole scene like top to bottom and figuring out like what exactly is going to happen, like where exactly is Connor walking and what is he doing, what exactly is it's Hudson, you know, like Rose, like what is every single person doing in that moment. So I think during the blocking I'm just scanning and I'm also looking at, like I was kind of saying with like the head considerations, I'm like, okay, if Connor's at the bar, like this thing is like close to here. So I know like where like my range kind of is, you know, and I'm looking
Yeah.
off camera, like, oh, where's Video Village? Where's this? So I think my biggest thing is just scanning the space and kind of figuring out like what's my world? Like where can I get a shot? Like where can I exist, you know? Jackson definitely often like knows exactly what he wants, but sometimes I just have to hide myself somewhere. You know, I'm like, okay, cool. Like no one is shooting these people like taking shots over here. Like, let me just grab a little beat of that, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I definitely like mental note. I don't really write things down when I'm camera operating. So I think it definitely is a lot more instincts and conversations and just like hearing notes. Like Jacob might come and like have a note and then it's just like, okay, cool, next take, just get that. Um
Mm.
and yeah, and I'm also like a Virgo, so I'm like very like anal and
Oh, I'm an
about
astrology girl, so I already know what
Yeah.
that means. I already
Yeah.
know what that means.
yeah, like I'm just
You're
like
on
very
it.
anal and I want to get things right. So, you know, so if I get a note or correction, I'm like, all right, next take, like that's what we're doing. So I think yeah, those are my major considerations. And I think too, just building up my camera in a way that like makes sense for the shot. One
Mm.
camera operator actually gave me advice once because oftentimes I'm not trying to find the easiest way to explain this. We always put our body in a very uncomfortable position and then we have to like hold it there. So like let's just say, I don't know, I'm carrying a character from like here to here. I might do like something like this, and then now my body is like this in a weird
Yeah.
position. So the smart thing is kind of make your body uncomfortable at the beginning of the shot and make your body more comfortable at the end. So if I know that this is
Mm.
where I want to be at the end, I might start the shot here. And the beginning, this is like so uncomfortable, but by the time
Yeah.
I'm here, I'm just chilling. So I think like when I'm figuring out what
Interesting.
my shot is, I'm like, okay, where do I start and where do I end? And how can I be comfortable at the end of the shot and just kind of work through whatever I'm feeling like at the beginning, you know? Or like
Yeah.
I might be doing like a pan or a tilt and my hand is like really low in a weird spot. And then I'm like up here, but it's like, no, just drop the handle, let it be here. So now I'm just going from here to here. So I think I'm just considering of
Mm.
like how to build the camera in a way that's gonna make my job easier. Or if
Yeah.
it's a long handheld scene and I am in a screamer, I'll make sure like my handles are right here so I don't have to move too much versus like my handles being lower and I'm breathing and now as I'm breathing the rig is going forward. So I think those are my considerations. Like, yeah, what can I
Yeah.
physically do between myself and the camera team to make the camera as comfortable for me for whatever it is I have to capture. If I'm dropping to my knees, I'm like, okay, cool. Let me go get my knee pads because I know I'm standing and then I have to like do that. Or I'm gonna
Yeah.
end up in, you know, I need something for my elbows. You know, you kind of just figure out what the shot is and you work with the team to craft the bits to kind of get it.
Actually, this is how I know you're physically fit because none of those positions you demonstrated look comfortable. When you were like, "I'm gonna start here and then get more comfortable," I said, "Girl, go ahead, go ahead, Ashley.
That
One day I
pivot.
will be there." That pivot, I said, "None of these positions look
They're
comfortable
Uh-huh.
to me,
they're not.
starting or ending."
You gotta work out though. Like if you're in
It's
film, honestly, like you definitely
fascinating.
have to be like you have to work out and you also have to have a sharp brain because it's literally all like instincts and like timing. Because like if
Yeah.
you're 1 second off, you might miss the thing. You might miss them grabbing something. You might miss them sitting. And then if you're like behind, like the shot's kind of burnt, you know?
Mm.
Mhm.
So you
Mhm.
just have to also like learn how people get up because like after a certain point, I know exactly how Hudson's gonna get up. I know exactly how Connor's gonna get up because I've been shooting them standing so much, you know, or
Yeah.
shooting them
Yeah.
or like I know how fast they walk into a room or out of a room. So it's just like learning these little things about people's physical body, even like people who like lean and talk because like my focus puller, like
Yeah.
he's like keeping them in focus, but then I'm also like considering what that means. So if I have someone that's always like
Yeah.
and his handheld, I'm just like, oh my gosh, like okay,
Yeah,
cool,
that's
like, we're doing this.
the shaky cam of it all.
Yeah, yeah.
That's so fascinating because what it feels like is also, to me, you have to have confidence within your choices because, like, I don't know. I mean, I'm curious because there's all of this talk all of the time around Heated Rivalry being filmed pretty quickly or just like not that many takes. So, like, were you having to make decisions pretty on the fly or quickly in between different takes of scenes because you weren't filming, each moment 20 times or
Well, it's actually very interesting because I think that people overshoot. Like in general, like industry wide, to be honest, like even like if I'm DPing, like it's just I think naturally people get like 7 to 9 takes, and oftentimes they don't change very much. Like I'll be operating, and I'm just like another one. Like we don't really need it. So I actually love the fact that like Jacob knew when he got the take he wanted, and we moved on.
Mm.
Like, there was like,
Yeah.
sometimes he didn't want one for safety. He was like, "Why?" Like, "We got it." And I was like, "Thank you. I love this man." Because it's so true. Like, we don't need 7, 8 takes if they're gonna do the exact same thing, you know? So, yeah, for me, I just thought it was really amazing the speed in which we were getting things. I mean, sometimes I'd be like, "Oh, man, I wish we had another one," like, for my own Virgoing at that moment.
Yeah.
But, like, honestly, if Jacob and Jackson think it's great, like, it is great, so I'm like, "Alright, cool, let's just, like, move on." But it also allowed us to have, like, a regular life outside of, like, working. Because
Mm.
typically, like, you work 12
Mm.
plus 1, so you work, like, a 12-hour day on set and a 1-hour lunch. So that's 13 hours that you're on set, and then depending on where you live, you might have another hour at the beginning and the end, so your day could be, like, 15 hours. But it's like I would say like
Wow.
we were kind of in the 10-hour range, sometimes 9, sometimes we're waiting for nighttime because like Jackson is so fast. So it's like it was really
Wow.
like nice because I'm like, wow, you guys are doing amazing work, but you also like value the time of like your cast and crew because we're not doing these like extremely exhausting days when like we got the shot.
Mhm.
Wow. Yeah.
That's incredible.
No, it was. It was. And like I lived very close to like half of the shot or half of the shoot was like in Hamilton. And at the time I lived in Hamilton. So I would segue like 10 minutes home. It was amazing.
You
You're
would
like, I'm done
segue?
for the
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm wrapping up. I'm going home.
Yeah. So I just cruise off set. I'm like, all right, later, y'all. Well, thank you for having me. It's been lovely chatting with you both.
Thank
You as
you.
well. So that was our conversation with Ashley. You guys, she is amazing. Just the wealth of knowledge that she has, and for someone who has had the journey that she has, and like Nicole said earlier, I can't wait for you guys to see or hear the full interview that we had with her because her journey to becoming a camera operator. She also DPs, supremely talented, and Ashley, we are eternally grateful that you were able to come on Top 5.
Yay.
So, next, you guys, we are going to be talking to some fans. What was the fandom like on that day 6 months ago when
Oh,
episode 4 dropped? Nicole, we
girl.
have talked about the lead up to episode 4 and how promotional things had changed. But
Yeah.
after episode 4 dropped, the timelines were all in shambles. So we're talking to a couple of fans and just what their thoughts were initially when the episode came out, how it changed them viewing the show after episode came out to the previous 3 episodes, and what are their little niche fandom corners that they like to inhabit? Fan edits, maybe fan
Fan
fiction. We're going to
edits,
talk about it all. We're going to talk about it all.
yes. It's so interesting because Tyra and I we started being in fandoms when we were like teens, so it's been like 20 years. I mean, it's been so long. So like,
Professional fandom.
I'm like, oh, okay, I found something else to fall into, whatever. But then there are people who this is literally their first fandom and they're experiencing like these fandom things for the first time. And it's like, I'm
Crazy.
sorry, wait, you didn't know what fan fiction was? So
You didn't know what?
that's
Never heard of fan
crazy.
form, Nicole? They've never heard of fan form.
I was a mod on Fanform when I was like 12. 12, telling grown people what to do. Don't post. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Not a moderator.
What?
Love it. But this is how deep that we have been into fandom. So this is nothing new to us. I mean, even though I don't think we've ever been in anything this level of
No,
just
this is
craziness.
insane.
Yeah,
No.
we've never been any, but we are definitely very much accustomed to fandom. So it's interesting to talk to some people who this is like their first foray. And if not their first foray, they've never been in this deep like the rest of us are.
Yeah, so we're going to talk to a couple people and also share our experience too, because this whole thing is crazy. As I'm sure if you're watching, it's crazy for you too. You're a part of the fandom, so I'm sure you can relate. And we'd love to hear like your also experience with the Heated Rivalry fandom in the comments. But for now, let's get to our conversation with a couple of fans. Hi, Daniela. Welcome to Top 5.
Thank you for having me. So excited to be here.
So, hi,
Hi, guys.
Alicia.
Yes.
Super
Okay.
happy
Well,
to-
first, before we get into the questions, we need to see your shirt.
Oh,
Because I know you have a
yes.
Heated Rivalry t-shirt on.
I do, everybody.
Yes.
In the words of Ilya Rozanov.
Yes.
Stupid Canadian
Yeah,
bird. We love it. We love it. Well, we wanted to talk to Daniela because one, we may have heard that this is your first fandom, and you may have started watching the show a little later than it actually aired. So talk to us about like how were you introduced to Heated Rivalry in general?
So a bunch of my friends had watched it when it came out and they were like, you need to watch this show. And I'm like, I don't know what are you talking about? Hockey? Like what? And then people whose opinions I trust are like, no, seriously, I think you will really like it. And I don't know, it was like February or something, and I had like some time. And I was like, all right, fine, let me go ahead and watch this. And when I tell you I was hooked immediately, like immediately.
I didn't know who Rachel Reed was. I'd never heard of the Game Changer series, never heard of any of these characters. All of a sudden, the very first teaser trailer for Heated Rivalry popped up in my For You page. And so it's like if you go back to all, like, there is the very, very first one. And I remember the scene that was like, I should probably watch this show, if it comes on air. Like, I'm still off the high of watching Plainclothes. And it's where Ilya goes to Shane's hotel room for the first time and he backs him up into the wall. And Shane is like, this is such a bad idea. And Ilya, in that wonderful Russian accent, was like,
What this?
I'm like, yeah, I need to watch this show. But the funny part is, at the very end of that teaser, my other favorite part, which I didn't know was in episode 4, is when they're kind of like touching foreheads and kissing each other on the couch. I'm like, that's a sexy ass scene. Little did I know it was going to be the scene that sent me through the fucking stratosphere and ripped my whole heart out. I was like, damn, y'all had me in the first half for real.
I want you to talk to us a little bit about what were your immediate reactions after you saw episode 4. And I know this is probably going to be a little different for you because you got the chance to binge this as opposed to being in hell with us when we were watching this weekly. So just tell us about those first thoughts.
All I could say is, I think if I was watching it in real time and I had to wait a week after that episode, I don't know what I would have done. Like, I don't, because I was like, what? It was so hard. It was so like, and also just cinematically, that club scene is beautiful. It is beautifully shot. It is like from when he walks in and like the shot of him from like just gorgeous, right?
Yeah.
Oh, this broke my heart. I was like, you beautiful dummies. Like, what are we doing?
I guess specifically, what was your reaction to seeing the tuna melt scene then? And that moment when Shane walks out, like,
how do you go from like possibly like the hottest thing I've seen on screen to like heartbreak like in a second? And you saw it.
Heartbreak.
I mean, you saw it in Ilya's face when he was like trying to go back to kiss him, and he like gave that little smile, and you're like, "Oh, Ilya!"
And then he followed him up, like he followed his eyes, like to him getting up.
The joy in Ilya's face, the way Connor plays that, like the joy to the heartbreak so quick, that switch.
Yeah,
so good.
It was, yeah, I was done for it. I was like, I get it now upon numerous reheats, and I understand where it came from, but in the moment, I was like, can we curse on this podcast?
This happened.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah. Okay. I was like, what the fuck are you doing, Shane? Like, what are you doing? Like, no.
What was going through your mind watching these two together and Shane's reaction based off of everything Ilya had thrown at him during this like tuna melt scene, particularly?
So I fully understand with my crash out, I have an obvious bias to Ilya.
I'm sorry.
Fuck me! Not you getting cold feet after all the fucking tears you cried over the last, I don't know, 8 years?
Are we expecting someone else?
Fuck! I completely understand that. So
You
I will
said
say
it.
that.
Yeah.
Yes. I understand it. So the explanation you just heard from me right now about being able to relate to Shane, I did not have that time to think that deep into it with how I reacted to Shane walking away. That came from a place of, remember, like in Bring It On, where Big Red was like, you know, Platter Nationals right here. It's like Platter Ilya is right here. He's right there. This is what you wanted. We have seen you cry. Why didn't we kiss? Why didn't we do A, B, C, and D? One of you has to have the fucking backbone and make this happen. So I'm like, Shane is right there. And then you skedaddle off into the oblivion. So I was like, you mother. For why?
Not the Shane Hollander. Not the Shane Hollander.
This is Shane Hollander you're talking about, Alicia, by the way. Was Shane right to leave Ilya at his house? And if not, what should he have done instead?
He should have stayed and talked. Like, he should have said,
okay, well, I mean, you know who you're talking about now, Daniella.
I know. Our sweet sunflower buttercup.
Both
Shane.
of them. Communication.
I know. Communication is not their strong suit. Okay, so in a world where they are better communicators, he should have stayed, or he could have like walked out of the room and then come back and be like, hey, I'm freaking out. Like, I need to talk about this, or like just say I'm freaking out. And then like, I don't know, something will happen besides him just like leaving and saying, I can't do this. But I understand, knowing like what you know about Shane, like I understand why like his system literally just like short circuited and he was like, I gotta go.
Yeah.
And Danielle, as I always say, like Shane has history. Like he knows that Ilya disappeared for 6 months at one point in their relationship.
Right.
Like Ilya has done some fuck shit.
Yes,
and so he's learned not to push too much. And then when Ilya kind of flips the script as he does in that scene, it's like, well, I don't know what to believe. What is the truth at this point?
Right, exactly. His whole like paradigm of how he views the world is like been shifted. And he's like,
So what is
I need to,
this?
it's like I need to go in Ilya's clothes and what did he do with his clothes? I have questions about that.
Oh, I do too. I do
he
too.
take those
I'm
clothes?
like,
I know. I assume so.
He did, but I'm like, what? You're leaving my house and you're taking my shit. That's crazy.
So let's talk about the club scene.
Yeah, let's talk about
what are your first initial thoughts when we go through that amazing sequence?
So when Ilya gets to the club, I'm like, yeah, he's gonna see that Shane's there. And so when he saw, Rose's friend, and like you just see him take that deep breath after he panorams and see Shane, I'm like, this man is about to be a Russian menace at level 8,000. I didn't know what it was gonna look like, but I knew it was gonna be petty as hell. I just knew it. And so when you see Shane see, Ilya's teammates and he walks away and Ilya is just giving that girl the business on the neck and the ears and just everything. I'm like, shit, I wish I was her. But that's besides the point.
And
yeah, but like to see like Shane's face fall and then Ilya is just laser staring at him like, this is what you asked for. I'm like, he kind of really didn't, but I kind of also understand the reaction because Ilya was hurt. He obviously was.
Yeah,
and then Shane was hurt.
And jealous.
Yes, very much so. And then, Shane was hurt. I think probably seeing like what the aftermath of like, Tuna Melt seeing that happen to Ilya because Shane didn't know, I guess, what Ilya was going through or how he felt, but we definitely get to see it in that scene with him making out with that girl.
How did you feel when you saw them break the fourth wall at the end of episode 4 when they're looked to camera?
I don't even think I blinked during that entire scene. I think the one thing I did say was, oh shit, he had sex with her?
He actually managed to do it?
I was like, really? Like that threw me all off, but looking at the scene, I knew they were both thinking about each other and I love the way they filmed it. It's very up close, it's personal. Like when people get that like close to you, you kind of want to just shy away. And I think I kind of like turned my head while watching it. Like you both are doing two different things, but you're both still thinking about each other. So like the love is there, the like is there, all of that is there. It just hurt that they were both too scared to go after what they wanted. And this is the aftermath of it.
Yes.
And so we know Shane is playing a role, playing a charade, and Ilya probably doesn't even know what to think. And it's the thing is what gets me is like, Ilya was or is the guy. He's been with women. So to see him go home by himself and Shane is the one that goes home with a woman was quite the juxtaposition to see.
But when you get that ending scene of Shane and Ilya in the bathroom by himself, Shane with Rose, and you get them looking to camera, breaking the fourth wall. What reaction did you have when you saw that on your screen? Because it was a lot, girl.
It was a lot. I was like,
too much.
Too much. Fuck.
Too much, too good.
It was too much, too good. I was like, oh my God. Yeah, that was a lot. There was a part of me I was like, "Oh, poor Rose." Like, he looked up those steps like he was marching to his death.
He literally, Hudson played that to perfection because he looks. It's not good.
Yeah, and the fact that Rose, I'm like, if you ever turned around and saw that look and you still stayed, girl, why? Because baby, I'm picking my dress up and getting out of there.
Right?
You don't want me.
No, I think she was just so like in her own world that
she was.
Yeah, because what? Excuse me, like I'm walking up here in a thong and you're looking like you want to pass out or vomit. No,
and it was such a nice contrast to the beginning montage where Shane and Ilya were walking up those steps.
Yes.
And and he was like,
couldn't be separated.
I know. Barely making up the steps.
Exactly.
Yes.
He's like, I don't want to stop kissing this man.
Then when we get that montage in episode 4, we see like, when the season starts, they're still like keeping this up and they're getting more comfortable with each other and doing a lot more. So it's hard not to want to have them have that happy ending.
Oh, I have to say one thing about that opening, that montage there in season 4. Like,
please,
justice for more couch scene. That's all I'm going to say.
Hello.
Come on. Come on.
We deserve
know
more.
it
exists.
We
It
know it
exists.
exists.
It's there. It's there. Yes.
It's there.
Jacob, what are you doing?
When Jacob says, I don't have a lot of extra footage, but we know you do have some. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, exactly.
Release
the
it.
tapes.
Release the tapes, as they say.
Beginning of that, we get to the episode 4 montage, and me and Nicole have just been like, how did they get there? From the end of episode 2 to that episode 4 montage, how did they get there? So what are your thoughts on that? How do you think they got there to that moment in time where they are like in depth in the situationship?
I think they swept it under the rug.
Yeah.
I do. I don't think there was an actual conversation that really happened, or at least one that was honest, because we see where I think it's Ilya texted him when he was running saying like, are you still mad about Vegas? And he said, no, I'm not mad about it. So I don't think there was an actual honest conversation about feelings the way we get in episode 5 in the hotel room.
It's also like something I've thought about in that period of time is like, Shane deletes that message because in a way he knows he has no right to even ask for that, right? Like, this is not, y'all never define this past what this is, which is just like we're hooking up when we can and there's no feelings or relationship involved. So like, I can't ask you that, which means I also really can't get mad at you for this because that wasn't what this technically was anyway.
What moment did you realize Shane and Ilya were in deeper than either of them wanted to admit?
That is a very good question. I need to not think about this question through my reheats, right? Because upon watching it again, I would say it's episode 2, right? Like,
yeah,
Ilya has the whole Vegas thing is about him like freaking out because he doesn't want to like admit the feelings that he has, right? But on my first like watch through, I guess I would say episode 4. That's when I think that's when it all kind of came crashing with disastrous results.
When Shane and Ilya, were in the bed and, Ilya asked Shane to stay. And we've never seen Ilya, verbally outright ask that. But I didn't point this out, but someone else did. And I wish I remember who. I think several people have. Is when you watch him ask him that, his feet are like quietly, frantically moving under the sheet.
They're moving.
And I know me. Yes, when I'm nervous, I'm either rubbing my hands or like I'm twiddling with my toes in my shoes. And it's like, who doesn't know that feeling of you're wanting to be vulnerable and ask a question that you could get a very hard no to. And we all know rejection hurts. It does, no matter how you slice it. And nobody wants to be rejected in pursuit of something that they want. And so it was nice seeing Ilya being vulnerable in that moment.
What took it from like, I watched a show, because I have friends who watch a show and then they were able to just go about their lives. And I don't know that life.
How do they do that?
So like, yeah.
Somebody tell me.
For you that you've never been in fandom before, like what made you go from like watching the show to then being like, I need to seek out anything else? Like
I would love to know the answer to that myself. I don't know what it is about this show. I joked there's like they sprinkled like some crack in here or something.
They did. That is part of the recipe.
I mean, honestly, because like the pure stuff, because I have never, and I watch a lot of TV. I do. I consume a lot of stuff, but I've never been this obsessed about a show to the point where I'll go back and watch it numerous times from start to finish. Or if I need like a quick dopamine hit, I will watch episodes 5 and 6, and that'll like immediately put me in a better mood, right?
And I had no idea that I was going to be so obsessed and into this fandom. Like, I think I have 4 folders of Heated Rivalry content I've saved since like the show started.
Ashley, so what took it from like, I watched a show, because I have friends who watch a show and then they were able to just go about their lives. And I don't know that life.
How do they do that?
So like, yeah.
Somebody tell me.
For you, that you've never been in fandom before, like, what made you go from like watching the show to then being like, I need to seek out anything else? Like,
I would love to know the answer to that myself. I don't know what it is about this show. I joke there's like they sprinkled like some crack in here or something.
They did. That is part of the recipe.
I mean, honestly, because like the pure stuff, because I have never, and I watch a lot of TV. I do. I consume a lot of stuff, but I've never been this obsessed about a show to the point where I'll go back and watch it numerous times from start to finish. Or if I need like a quick dopamine hit, I will watch episodes 5 and 6, and that'll like immediately put me in a better mood. Right? I started like just looking at on Instagram and I started following people who create these edits. First of all, like there are so many talented people and creators out there who put together these professional grade edits. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And one person who I follow like ended up getting a job with HBO. I don't know if you follow her.
Oh yeah. Bucky.
Bucky, yeah.
Yeah. Icon. Icon.
Right? It's insane.
We don't either.
I know. Put your portfolio right on Twitter. Listen, get it out there.
And so then as I started following these folks, like then my algorithm just started showing me more and more. And I just love the creativity of people out there. I love the fun that people are having making these edits. And I'm trying to remember, I don't know, Nicole, if you were the person who got me to read my first fic. It probably was.
Maybe.
And then and then I was
not maybe. I'm curious. Are you at all going to read the books? Are you going to read Heated Rivalry in the long game?
When it comes to like there's a book and then there's a TV or a movie adaptation, I like to do the video medium first and then go read the book because I always feel like I'm disappointed. And that the adaptations are never as good as the book. Apparently this is not the case here, that he did a pretty good job. So I don't know. I'm very conflicted. I go back and forth.
Well, listen, me and Tyra are long game. I mean, long game is a good, mature look at their relationship. I would.
It is.
Yeah. Okay. But it's going to like break my heart. Yeah.
I mean,
put it back together.
yeah.
In parts, but it'll pick you back up again. Listen,
it will.
It will break your heart, but it'll be restored. But it will be interesting though for you to go in blind without having read the books and just seeing the spoilers that you see online because I am curious for people what that experience would be like. So I think if you decide to do it before or after, you do have to read the book.
Yeah. I think I'm definitely gonna read it. It's just a question of can I hold out all the way until April and not read it? I don't know. That's tough. Although I don't know, there are a lot of fanfics out there, a lot of fics to get me through.
No shortage of them.
That's what I was gonna say, Daniela. It's so funny that you're like, I don't know if I'm read the book, but I'm like, but you've read like 100 fanfics. You just like.
And it's way past probably 600 different like pictures, graphics, everything just from the fans and like all their great content they've been doing. You couldn't tell me anything about it. A friend of mine was like, "Can you please shut up about this show?" I'm like, "Watch it, and I will shut up."
Like never.
Yeah, fine.
Like
period.
Yeah, and I think part of it is the world around us is falling apart, is terrible, awful, like whatever. Like life is stressful, and I think this came at a time where I needed an escape from like the everyday stuff. And it was an escape that had nothing to do with anything that I deal with of like my normal day-to-day life, and I think that's part of why.
Okay, well, thank you, Daniela and Alicia, for the conversations. Literally, like, the best thing, and we say this about this podcast, and the reason why we started it is like we just want to get with other people about this show. So to be able to have that conversation was amazing. To be able to talk to you all right now, if you're still listening, is amazing.
It is, because we never thought we would also have this, Nicole, too. Like, we found each other again, like, through this, because no one else was talking about it. Exactly. No one else was talking about it. We were siloed. We were on an island alone, you guys, and just no one was obsessed with the thing that we were obsessed about and constantly thinking about. And that was after only the first 2 episodes premiered.
I know. It's
So yeah,
crazy.
being in this fandom has just been, amazing. It's been a great outlet for something that we all just really
So
love.
nice. It's been so nice. And I think it was so great that I feel honestly, first off, so grateful that we got to talk to who we got to talk to for this
Yes.
episode because when we were like, we spent so much time trying to figure out like what's our next top 5, what are we gonna like
Yeah,
talk
yeah.
about, and when we knew that like the half year anniversaries are coming up for a lot of the episodes that changed the game essentially for this show. We knew that episode 4 was something we wanted to do. And at first we were just going to be yapping about it. And we were like, wait, what if we just try to talk to people who actually had experience with this show?
In the
Like
show, exactly.
literally. And so for them to even say yes and take the time was
I
amazing. So
think
thank
it's
you, Devante Harrison and
Harrison.
Ashley, so
And the fact
much.
that you guys
Like,
said yes is still like we're kind of still floored about all of that. But
yeah,
it was
literally.
such, you guys were so amazing to like be so gracious with your time. We really appreciate it. But when I think about this episode, Nicole, I just think about going back to my initial thoughts when I was just sending you voice notes back and forth. And I'm remembering that time and just a lot of my feelings that I had back then are my feelings that I have now. The same way that I felt about the beats of that moment about watching Tudum out for the first time and just being so floored. Like, even though I'd read the books at that point, knowing what's going to happen, but seeing
Mhm.
Shane walking out of that door shattered me like it shattered Ilya because I'm just like, I need you guys to get it right. Seeing that club scene and then, the ending of that and Shane and Ilya breaking the fourth wall, the visceral
Mhm.
reaction I had, I'm just like, these are the same sort of emotions that I still have 6 months later.
Oh, yeah. And honestly, like, I think what that episode did so well is it can serve when you look at like 1, 2, and 5, 6 as this transition episode, but it
Yeah.
did it in a way that didn't feel like that's what they were trying to do. It was just like
Yeah.
a part of the story to me that might be the most important part of the story that needed to happen in terms of like Shane and Ilya. Like a lot of
Yes.
these beats had to happen to get us from this like playful kind of no strings attached version of Shane and Ilya to like we have to acknowledge our feelings and know that we're in love and we want to take this to another level, Shane and Ilya, that we
Mhm.
saw in parts
Yes.
of 5 and then all of 6. And I just, I think episode 4 in any other show would be the episode of the season. But obviously, I mean,
We got episode 5 right behind it.
I mean,
Episode 6 after that. I
it just
mean,
kept getting better and better. But episode 4 still to me is like it deserves the reason why we wanted to do an episode on it is because it deserves more credit than I think it gets. Like we talk about the beats of it, like the tuna melt and the club scene and like the iconicness of like the needle drop. But if
yeah.
you look at it from top to bottom, the storytelling it does to introduce us to new characters in a
Yep.
way that feels organic and fleshed out and to like bring us on a 2-year journey in a 3-minute montage. It's like it does
Exactly.
so much and it doesn't
Yep.
get to me the spotlight that it does the same way that like 5 or
Which it
even
should,
6
because
does.
you can see in 4, you can really see the intentionality of the writing and the direction,
Mhm. Mhm.
based off of Rachel's source material. You can see that Jacob really had a very clear vision of what this show should look like, from top to bottom. In episode 4, if you didn't catch the artistic vision from 1 to 3, episode 4, you really got who this director was, who this writer was, what he was trying to say so clearly, and it painted so beautifully and so stylized. It's like, it
Yes.
feels very
Yes.
much, I'm like, oh, this is Jacob Tierney's signature. I feel like
Mhm.
he is
Mhm.
a director and a writer that has a very unique style, and you can see it, and you really see it in episode 4.
Mhm. Yeah. It's such a great episode of television. It, as we said, I think during Devante's segment, it opens up the world so much more because even outside of just Rose and Miles, and you also get the key friendships that feel a little bit more lived in with like Hayden and Shane, and then
Exactly.
Svetlana and
Svetlana.
Ilya,
Hmm.
and then you're seeing more of who Shane is as like a athlete who is not only like the captain of his team, but he's more well known. You see him being approached in the aquarium. You see him having more endorsements. Like,
He is
and you're
winning
seeing Ilya.
exactly,
Yeah,
winning back to back
he's winning back to back
cups.
whatever cups they call it. You see Ilya in Russia with his father, and like it just
Yeah.
feels more lived in, and they were able to do that, mind you, with the shortest run time of the season. That is
Talk
like
about it. Talk about it.
big brain, big brain. I don't even
Talk about
know
it.
how you do
That and
that.
that also shows you the power of the montage because
Mhm.
he packed so much
Mhm.
into it. You saw the transition of time and it felt organic and it truly felt like they were growing up. They were maturing into themselves as
Yeah.
adults, which is what makes
Yes.
the stakes even higher when you get to episode 4, midway point, and then the ending of it.
Mhm. And
So
just like kudos to Jacob Tierney too, because I know that he doesn't waste time on that set, but he also does not waste time with us. Every scene is intentional.
he
Every
does
beat
not.
is a beat that we
He
need to see.
does
There
listen.
is no dead air, and that is just like
None.
incredible storytelling. So kudos
Yes.
to everyone involved on the production side. I mean, we had so much fun doing this
We
episode
did.
over
We
the last
did.
few weeks.
We did. This episode was a labor of love and we are on the other side of it and we just loved every minute of it. Again, I want to thank everyone, Harrison, Devante, Ashley, Daniela, and Alicia, our 2 fans, just for giving us their time and talking about the show that we all love so much.
And if y'all made it this far, thank y'all for still
Yes.
watching.
We are very
For
excited
listening.
we are very excited to see what you guys think about this episode in the comments. This is a supersized
Yes.
one. Listen, you guys say you like the long episodes, so get your snacks, get your drinks, and
Yes.
have a great time with this.
And hopefully, we can reheat episode 4 and talk about it in the comments. But
Would love that. Until then,
until then,
we'll see you
thank
guys
y'all
in the next
again.
one. Have a good one. Bye.
Bye bye.